Hi everyone.
Hi guys.
It's lovely to see you. We're so relieved to still be back in our wonderful loft here.
For now.
It's great. I know. We're just lucky. Today, this is a fragrance that we could have potentially have done a review on slightly earlier.
A couple of months ago, yeah.
Yeah, but it was in my corridor, in my place, because I didn't know that my partner had picked it up. Dan sent it to me, and basically it was quarantined with an organ pedal, a keyboard pedal, and I didn't know I had it, but I did, and I thought it was lost, and it's not. What is it, Dan?
It is Sticky Fingers, the newest fragrance by Francesca Bianchi. So if you follow our channel, we really enjoyed some of her work before. We bought samples of her first set and ended up buying bottles. For me, Under My Skin is still my favourite from her. But there are lots of other good ones, and I'm always interested to see what she does. All her fragrances, they're all very sexy.
Do you know, after you'd sprayed Under My Skin up here once, for weeks and weeks and weeks, the smell was here. It was on the little tester strips. It was on the organ. I mean, and it was wonderful. Every time I came and sat back at the instrument, I thought, oh, that's so good. I mean, it's really wonderful stuff.
Deep, complex, and sexy. That is what you expect.
Well, I am. Thank you.
Moving on to the
Sticky
fragrance.
Fingers. I mean, this is inspired by.
So it's an album cover
by
the Rolling Stones, I think. We'll put it up here.
They're okay.
And it's supposed to be a kind of a rock chick patchouli, I think. So I used up my sample about 6 weeks ago. I haven't smelled it for a while. So this is Joe's first impression. So it's going to be a bit of a reminder for me as well.
I'm so excited about this. Let's give it a spritzer. Go big or go home, I say.
Oh, God. Do you want to go? I've still got my page of notes.
Oh, I'm getting some very exciting stuff coming out of that.
It is.
I just sprayed a little bit in the extension socket there, so if the lights go off, that's my fault.
It's a big, boozy hit of patchouli in the finger, isn't it? Like.
But can I tell you my very first impression of that?
Yeah.
Francesca Bianchi. Before anything, I immediately smell that, and I get a relationship to her other perfumes. Oh. Doesn't smell the same, but that's immediately Francesca Bianchi to me.
DNA.
Something that she does. I don't know what it is.
I don't know. Is there a bit of orris in there? I don't know if she lives.
It smells like it. I think that's what it is. It's like a really kind of buttery, like Parma violet orris thing.
Well, orris, yeah, it's a kind of orris butter, which is interesting because in a minute I think this goes more irisy, but thick, rich, boozy patchouli. I'm reminded.
That's bloody good.
A bit of the Profumum Roma patchouli, which is one of my favourite patchouli fragrances. I saw a few people mentioned. It's easy to think about other patchouli fragrances. People mention Coromandel. I don't really get. Even though this is a boozy patchouli, I don't really get that association at all.
I find this more floral than that.
It's quite bright and uplifting, isn't it?
It's very beautiful actually. It's not quite as sort of like earthy and heavy as some patchoulis can be. They can sometimes be a little bit serious and a bit.
So I showed you my notes, and one of the things I've written. Sometimes you get an image in your head when you smell something.
Yeah.
And I got PVC trousers, and I just kept getting, and when I smell it, do you get a hint of that PVC?
Yeah, I actually know what you mean.
And I know in the kind of the artwork for this, there's this kind of pair of jeans with an arse. I don't know if it's her arse or someone else's arse.
Whoever's it is, it's great.
It's really lovely. But anyway, but I think more PVC trousers. I don't know why. It's not. Yeah. This is not an overtly rubbery fragrance. Don't get me wrong. It's just something which I kind of got in my head and kind of fixated about.
It's just got a little bit of like PVC under some sort of bright neon lights.
Yeah.
It's quite sort of bright but dark and leathery at the same time.
I think you're absolutely right. It's got that kind of bright neon. I think that's what she was going for with that rock chick.
Yeah.
It feels. As you say, it doesn't go into that dark patchouli world so much. It's more bright, uplifting, and then we're just soon,
really good.
In a little bit of a while, we get the kind of the iris, which feels like kind of slapping on the lipstick. It really was quite a lipsticky iris.
I totally get that. Actually.
Yeah,
totally.
And again, I just really got that image of those PVC trousers, big load of. Lipstick. I almost thought, I'm sure there's a Blondie album cover when she's got like bright red lipstick and maybe she's just wearing like a leather bodysuit or something like that. But you know, that kind of image.
Do you know what I'm getting? And I don't know the name of the film. And I should, because I'm quite a huge fan and maybe a slightly worrying fan. Margot Robbie. There's a film with her, and I keep seeing it on the side of a bus, and she's got like crazy hair, and she's sort of doing this. I don't know what it is. You'll recognise it. You'll know what it is.
I'll find it and put it up.
It's a Margot Robbie film, and I'm getting that image. Very sexy, slightly wild.
Yeah, it's
sort of uninhibited. But more and more and more, Francesca Bianchi.
Yeah.
If you said who made this perfume, in a heartbeat, I would say Francesca Bianchi.
It's interesting because I found, especially when I wore it on skin, that the iris definitely stayed. I got a hint of the iris, but the iris definitely stayed this lipsticky iris, and I didn't quite get the leathery iris which you get particularly in Under My Skin and some of the other ones. You get this real leather iris, and there was just a hint of it here, but not quite as kind of underpinning as it is in some of the other fragrances.
There's a slight savoury thing going on here, like a slight tobacco something.
Yeah, really. I definitely get tobacco as well.
Yeah.
I think that the patchouli really naturally segues to tobacco. It's a real kind of like night out, isn't it?
Yeah,
you know, with
absolutely.
the lipstick, the leather, the booze, the cigarettes.
It feels more like an experience than a perfume. It said, if you said bottle me your wild night out. I mean, I don't know if anyone's been, but Sticky Fingers, I've had many a happy night in I've gone the wrong way.
Wait.
It's a restaurant off High Street Kent. I don't know if it's still there with everything, but a restaurant owned by Bill Wyman called Sticky Fingers, and they did like barbecue and stuff covered in maple glaze and all that kind of stuff. Very like American rock cafe kind of place.
Yeah.
And I spent many drunken nights in there.
Enjoying Bill Wyman's Sticky Fingers.
Yeah.
Why not?
That is really, really good.
Cherry tobacco.
Cherry tobacco.
Yeah, that's what I get.
Yeah.
Get it at all?
I do, and I get something a little bit boozy. Not massively boozy, I don't find it. I just get like a little chocolate liqueur.
Yeah, there's a chocolate liqueur. It's interesting, when I saw the notes list, I saw castoreum on here, and I get excited when I see things like castoreum.
Or just beavers, generally.
I get a hint of that kind of boozy leather, but for me, I didn't. As I say, I get excited by the prospect of beaver, and I didn't get quite as much beaver as I was hoping for. It never went into that. It never goes to an animalic leather for me.
It's not quite as animalic as some of her other things, is it? I mean, like the dark side and things like that. I remember thinking, wow. I mean,
yeah,
these are quite beastly.
Or is it the Black Knight as well?
Black Knight. That's what I'm thinking of actually, not the dark side.
But it's interesting. I think this is definitely identifiable as Francesca Bianchi. But for me, this always stays fun.
Yeah.
Rather, it never becomes the out-and-out raunch that I expected from it.
And it's kind of interesting because you can tell it's got all the skill of a classically put-together perfume, but without being at all classical or stale. Like patchouli fragrances can sometimes be very kind of serious affairs, and patchouli actually I think is quite a fun thing.
Well, it is, and interesting.
I always feel happy when I smell
both of those things, that fun and classical. There's another fragrance which it most reminded me of, which Joe just happens to have a bottle of here.
So Borneo 1834.
Right, wrong side. And there's definitely, I feel, a relationship. They're not the same at all. This turns into more of an out-and-out patchouli and chocolate. But certainly when we first sprayed this a minute ago, that was the kind of the closest relation, more so than any other anything else we've spoken about. The other fragrance, this is going to sound a bit weird, which did pop to my mind when I was wearing it, because of the iris, was Iris Fauve by Atelier des Ors.
Yeah.
Because it's a dirty, rich iris. And interesting, a fragrance which didn't pop to my mind was Cuir d'Iris, which is by Pierre Guillaume, which is a much dirtier iris.
Yeah.
Which is very, very dirty leather, whereas I don't feel this ever goes as far as that in terms of dirty leather. It remains more fun, rock chicky fun, more lipsticky, more beginning of the
It's
night.
got a serious
Dining
edge to
cocktails.
it as well, though. It just depends what you take. If I smell it and think I want to get the fun rock chick thing, I can totally get it.
Yeah.
But if I take that iris alone and I kind of imagine that rock chick
Yeah.
at the end of the night with a broken heart, I can also get that. It's really interesting, actually.
Yeah.
The iris you can isolate the iris a little bit, and it will be quite a serious thing. Put it with the chocolate and the patchouli and the kind of fizz. Like I still get this Parma violet thing or something. There's a Bianchi signature, I think, with iris, and I don't know quite what it is.
Definitely orris butter. I think she seems to use orris butter quite a lot.
Because I really love that. I think it gives it such a great DNA.
For me, as I said, I really enjoyed this fragrance. It's really fun. It's a really well put together fragrance. It just didn't take me over the edge. I think when I wore it, I was waiting for that extra bit of richness. And if you know our channel, you know our taste. I was hoping for a little bit more funk, a little bit more raunch. Whereas for me, this stayed in fun territory, which is,
It's
a perfectly legitimate thing.
I think the message is don't come to it expecting it to do one thing or the other. If you have to take it on its own merits. But I'm with you completely, because Francesca Bianchi to me is raunch and animalic and sort of unapologetic.
And you get, as you said, the first thing you said was Francesca Bianchi, and you get that from the outset, and you will recognise it as a fragrance by her. But if you've tried some of her, especially some of her bigger, darker fragrances, and you're expecting that here, I don't think you will get it.
No.
But, not every fragrance needs to be really, really dark and heavy, does it?
No, God no. And it's beautifully done.
Lovely stuff.
Yeah.
I'm really glad we got a chance to try it. Thank you, Francesca, for
wonderful.
sending us some samples, and glad that Joe eventually found his in his corridor.
I'm going to keep this little bit here, and I'm going to probably lose it again, but then find it again and wear it again. So it's all good.
So if you've tried this, let us know what you think. See what images you get. See if you get PVC trousers. See if you get Blondie. Anyway.
Beautiful.
Until next time, happy sniffing.
Bye.